Yeah, we're standing over your buck, man. No, I'm not kidding. Good girl, baby girl. Man.
Get, girl, get. Get. Get, girl, get. Drag it to the car.
Oh, hey, you want your buck? There's your buck. Good, drag it, girl, good girl. Get it, girl, get it. That's it. That's it. Get it, girl, get it. All right, cool.
Okay. You have a direction?
Oh yeah, get straight back.
All right. Gotcha. And you see this right here somewhere?
Right in this area, yeah.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna go through the whole little speech thing. If she stops, we stop. Try not to veer off left or right or anything. Dogs are competitive, so I think if you have something, they're gonna try and take off to get in front of you. Right. Scent's not always right where the blood's at. Scent moves different, so dogs work a little different than what you kind of expect sometimes. We gotta kind of cast you because we don't know exactly where we were. Down. Down. Yeah, I know. You hate this part. Stay. You have any blood up here?
Yeah, there's gonna be instant blood.
Okay.
There's
All right.
somewhere out around that big white oak right there.
Right there. Find it.
Yep. That's it.
Hunter called saying he shot a nice buck 17 yards away from a saddle, compound bow, and the brisket. He did say he shot another deer, I think it was a doe, a few days beforehand, and basically the same location. So we show up, it's real far back on private land, and see what Diesel does. Now, this is the kind of situation that irritates me a little bit because he doesn't show me exactly where blood is, doesn't give me a good directional. I think he was kind of like testing us. So I kind of had to cast her instead of putting her on blood. But I put her down and she takes off, and as you'll see, she finds blood pretty quickly.
I have no idea why she does it, man. I used to yell at her for it, and then during practice I kind of like, I guess, tried a few different things, and she just tracks better if I don't yell at her. I guess I don't stress her out. But yeah, she'll sit there and stand for a minute sometimes. Yep, that's blood. Come on. Leave it. Get to work.
This portion of the video is sped up 2.5 times. And I'm leaving it in just because I kind of want to show her behavior here, mainly for me. I use these videos mainly to teach myself about my dog. But I usually cut out where at the beginning of a track, they do all the circles before they take a line. Any of us who run dogs, we kind of know that it's the crime scene. They're checking it out, putting it together. Well, this time it wasn't like she was doing circles and searching and trying to figure out which way the line went. It was almost more like distracted, I thought. But now that I know the track and I look back on it, I think there was coyotes at the beginning of this track, possibly from the other deer or from this deer. Not too sure, but I really do believe there was coyotes in the area on this track. So yeah, kind of interesting, a new read on my dog from the beginning of a track. So this is normal coyote behavior. See how she gets up on stuff to get higher so she can look down further. She's using like a height advantage to like visually scan the area. And then if you watch the video too, her hair standing up on her back, that's pretty good sight of coyote behavior. I don't think I was realizing it because I don't think I've ever seen it at the very beginning of a track. Usually it's in the middle of the track or around a bed or something like that when a coyote kind of comes in on a line. It's very, I think this is the only time I've ever seen her coyote behavior at the very beginning of the line. Kind of interesting.
She's not taking lines really well. Come on, girl. Oh, yeah, here we are. Hey, come on, find it. Over. There you go. Just let me know when we hit your last blood also. Okay.
So she finally casts to the right, hits the line, head snap, and down the hill we go. I tell him to tell me when we hit last blood. He informs me that we have to go down a hill, down a flat section, and up the next hill. And at the very top of the next hill is kind of where he loses blood. And she takes off doing great.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a good amount of blood, but it's nothing that makes me think that he's dying of blood loss or anything like that. An artery usually looks like you painted the forest red. But if he filled up with his chest cavity because he shot kind of high, he could have a whole thing of blood in his chest. But you have enough land, so you might be able to run them down. We usually hit property lines before we run one down. Right. Yeah, it's a nice thing when someone knows all the neighbors and lived there for a while.
Yeah, I did got the pin on.
Look at that smeared blood. I don't think it was too hard to track, was it?
So, like I said, it tracked it easy, so it just disappeared. I don't know if it's double back or what.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And my neighbor was with us, and man, I tried to get him to stay double back with us. Instead, he was Trump.
Yeah. Turning the leaves over and.
Yeah, he'd been walking on the blood trail. So trying to get that pin.
Yeah, it ain't no big deal.
Okay.
I mean, it's good to know where people kind of walked around a little bit, just so we have an idea.
So,
As you heard, Hunter thinks, of course, deer's got to be dead. Look at all this blood. Now, we all know tracking brisket shots, there's a lot of blood. This one, there was consistent good blood, right, the whole way. And there was even smear marks and everything of that sort. And as we're tracking, he starts to tell me how they've gridded real hard. Of course, the grid is always a little bit bigger and a little bit more intense once you get there and start running and the truth starts to come out. But you know what, we'll work through it. It's part of tracking. And I'm as happy as being honest so we can work through it and figure it out.
Yeah. She's a very cautious dog when coyotes are on a track. Very cautious. Tries to go in high areas before, like, get herself up and look into an area before she decides to go into an area. I'll push her a little bit, yeah.
So I finally start to put it together that there's probably coyotes in the area or on the track. By the way, she's sitting on that log looking out. Later on, we do hear coyotes. It's not picked up in the video, but we did hear them. But she continues to track. It's pretty open, so she's not too worried about it.
I could deer study for a minute. Gotta look around to figure out what's going on. Is that coyote poop on your track? Pretty sure you're right on that blood. We can go that way. Gotcha. That's kind of pretty left blood. There's more daylight time. Gotcha. Yeah, there's more blood here too. Yeah, you're good for a minute. Huh. Yeah, at least we're pretty good too. Might be here for a minute.
Now, watch her behavior closely here. It's another lesson learned on this track. She starts winding, head up, kind of getting hot. By getting hot, I mean she's just kind of really speeding up. Now, I don't promote winding behavior. I prefer line discipline. So, I've never really let her wind a lot of deer up to this point. Like, I don't allow it. I'm just big on line discipline. So at this time, as a handler, I don't really recognize that head up, you know, the hot behavior, winding pretty good, dedicated to go that direction. And then the hunter kind of says, hey, my deer went this way up the hill, and deer didn't go left there.
I'll bring her back in a minute. I just want to let her run it out a little bit.
Now, I could have played it different ways. I could have kind of let her continue up the valley, or I could have pulled her back. I decided to say, hey, let me see what she does. And on her own, she does come back to the line and start working again. I wish I would have took mental note of her going up that way a little better, though.
I can't hear you up on these rocks. Gotcha. Is that straight line or gear travel?
Pretty much both.
Okay.
As you can see, she comes back, hits the line, and up the hill we go. So she self-corrected herself.
Easy. What's that? Okay.
So the hunter yells down, hey, the blood goes straight up the hill. We have blood at the top of the hill. I just kind of say, okay, I'll keep doing my thing.
Over on that right side more. Well, I got blood right here. Yeah. So she just cut your back track out? So she cut the back track out? Yep. I'll hold her here till you catch up. Good girl. Find it. Find it.
So a hunter called again saying, hey, I have blood up this way. About 75 yards up the hill, the very top, is where their last speck of blood was. They had no idea of any blood going left, which is the direction we are headed. So I told him, hey, we got blood. So he comes down and I water my dog and then we restart her. And then this is after the restart here, after a water break. And she continues this side of this hill and we were seeing blood while we went around this hill for a little ways. Because of that, our mindset was that the deer did a 75-yard-ish backtrack and then went left, explaining why they couldn't find any more blood going forward.
I got, no, not blood. Let's go this way. Leave it. Hey, leave it. Get to work. Leave it. Leave it. Oh.
Squirrels. She got distracted by squirrels. Now, normally when she gets distracted, we usually don't find the deer. It's kind of one of her ways of saying, like, hey, this is not a dead deer. But I haven't even seen searching behavior out of her yet. So this one kind of confused me, because usually it's search behavior, and then it's distraction behavior, and then it's kind of like, sit by my side, hey, we're not going to find the deer.
Hey, is that right? Come on, let's go back.
You know what the great thing about making videos and putting them on YouTube is? It's seeing your mistakes and then putting them online for everyone to see. Even though she was distracted, I told her to leave it. She hit the line and she kept working, and because she was distracted, I didn't trust her and I pulled her back. why? I don't know. She got me that far with no distractions. I should have trusted her longer, and I brought her back on the first time she was distracted. It's frustrating, but, you know, here we are. After restarting her, she takes the line going all the way to the top of the hill that the hunter was talking about earlier in the video. So, up we go.
Gotcha.
As she was climbing the hill, she eventually kind of hooks left and goes back to the area where the squirrels were that she got distracted by, and continues the line out a little further. And then I get a phone call from him saying that, hey, where you at? We had about the top of the hill, and he's kind of thinking the deer just zigzagged going up the hill. It didn't actually backtrack, so he's kind of questioning this direction again. So, see what happens.
Towards the power line, right to the top of that valley. Like you're in the valley. Okay. Yeah, let her run it out a while. We don't do anything before we start her. Okay. Probably with the left on the line. Yeah, left on the line.
When she made a right, leaving the woods and coming up with the power lines, I kind of questioned that behavior. I felt like she should have went straight or left. I'm not sure why she went up here, but I kept that in my mind that something seemed kind of odd. Now, the hunter's convinced that the deer is further higher in elevation where it crossed the power lines or crossed the four-wheeler trail up here. So I go ahead and sweep her the direction that he thinks a bunch of times and kind of Wi-Fi'd her out different directions that he asked, and occasionally she'd hit and take a line, but no more than 20-40 yards, nothing that I really wanted to follow. She'd give up on her own anyways. So I decide to go ahead and restart her and bring her all the way back and see what she does. So I'm just going to cut to that kind of area and section.
Yeah, that I do. Well, that's a big one.
The hunter didn't want to be with me for the run again, so he went to get the side-by-side and just go wait at the end of the area for me. And on the way back to restart her, we find a pretty nice deadhead. Spoiler alert, they didn't let us keep it. Pretty cool, though.
Down. Find it.
So I restart her at the bottom of the valley where she was winding with that hot behavior, because going up the hill, you know, you got a line kind of going left, you got a line going straight up, and we don't know if it's a backtrack or a Z or what the deer actually did. So I was like, let's just start all the way down there and see what she really does. As I'm going, I start to realize that it's basically the exact same line that we took the first time, going to the left. So I was just kind of kicking myself in the butt for not trusting her and pushing further that way more. It's hindsight's 20/20, right? So you don't know until you kind of work the area. So I kind of let her go further, We went right past where the squirrels were, and instead of turning to go on top of the power lines, she goes deeper into the top of that valley, because the valley is still connected. It's just the top side of that valley. I'm going to skip that section. As you can see, she's kind of stuck in the valley. Now we're further up in elevation from the bottom of the valley where we had blood. Now we're at the top part of it. Now the sides of the hills are pretty steep, and she seems to be stuck in this area. You know, obviously I pushed her up both sides. I pushed her up the very top, but I probably only pushed her, I don't know, 20, 25 yards. And she never took a line anywhere. And she did show me winning behavior a couple of times, but I didn't think much of it. And in my head, I thought, you know, I've seen this a bunch where a deer will lay on the edge somewhere near water, and then they'll come and drink water, then they'll bed somewhere else. So I kind of think that's what she was doing. I was worried about a sim pool, so I did go ahead and, like I said, push her upwards, but she never took a line. So because she never took a line, I went ahead and called it. When I was headed home, I called my mentor, Mark, and explained the whole track to him and told him I thought the deer was alive. And he told me he thought I left a dead deer in the woods. You never want to hear that, but I appreciate my mentor telling me that. Saying that the line could have... You don't know the line, right? You don't know it. So what could have happened is there's a dead deer further up on one of those hills somewhere, and the scent's just building up, making a scent pool. But because there was no line, and I don't really allow her to give me winding behavior, she didn't commit to the winding behavior, and there's no line because we don't know the line, and she got stuck in that scent pool. And, you know, it's a problem in our training, it's a problem in what we're doing, but there's probably a dead deer up there. I call the hunter, explain all this to him. He decides to go out there in the morning, and he does find a dead deer. Now, this dead deer was not his. It ended up being one of the neighbors. He called and found out whose it was, I believe. And it was a nice one. Here's some pictures of it. He went ahead and gridded some more for his deer and actually jumped his deer alive. Arrow still stuck in it. And the deer took off running like crazy. He had fresh blood at the bed and everything. So the deer we were called to track is still alive, doing well. And the dead deer that messed with my dog was the neighbors. You know, it's really hard to try and figure all this out while you're on the track. So please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.